Talking in English is so easy. Hello everyone. Welcome to this comprehensive guide about improving your English. Learning English can seem like a big challenge, but don't worry, it's easier than you think. With the right steps, tools, and daily practice, you can become confident in speaking, listening, reading, and writing English. In this guide, we will explore practical ways to enhance your English skills step by step. Whether you're a beginner or someone looking to refine your skills, this guide has something for everyone. We will talk about the importance of listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and how to use these skills to communicate effectively in English. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Basics of Learning English. When starting to learn English, it's important to build a strong foundation. This involves practicing every day, being patient with yourself, and staying consistent. Remember, progress may seem slow at first, but every small step brings you closer to your goal. Listening every day. One of the first and most effective ways to learn English is by listening to it daily. You don't need to understand everything right away. For instance, when I started learning English, I listened to simple stories and songs. At first, I didn't understand much, but over time, the words and meanings became clearer. Why is listening important? When you listen, you hear new words and phrases. Learn how words are pronounced. Understand how sentences are structured. Start with simple resources like speaking every day. Speaking is equally essential. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, they are a part of the learning process. I remember when I started speaking English, I often used the wrong words or grammar, but I kept trying. The more I practiced, the more confident I became. Here's how you can practice. Talk to yourself. Describe your day or your plans out loud. Practice with a friend. If you know someone who speaks English, practice with them. If not, find language partners online. Role play. Pretend you're ordering food at a restaurant or asking for directions. Reading simple texts. Reading is a fantastic way to improve your vocabulary and comprehension. Start with books that match your level. For example, picture books. These are great for beginners. Short stories. They're engaging and help you learn common phrases. Try to read every day, even if it's just a page or two. This habit will gradually increase your confidence and skills. Writing to practice. Writing helps solidify what you've learned. Start with simple sentences like writing about your day or describing your family. Keep a small notebook to jot down new words and sentences. Over time, you'll see how much your writing improves. Chapter 2. The Importance of Listening. Before you start speaking, it's important to develop your listening skills. Listening is one of the most essential skills in language learning. It allows you to understand how the language sounds, how words connect, and how native speakers express themselves. When you listen to English, try to focus not just on the individual words but on how sentences are formed. Notice the rhythm, tone, and flow of the language. You can practice listening by watching movies, listening to podcasts, or even following along with English language songs. Start with materials that are designed for beginners, like children's shows or podcasts for English learners. These often use simpler language and slower speech. As you get more comfortable, you can gradually move to more advanced content, such as TV shows, movies, or news broadcasts. While listening, try to mimic what you hear. This is called shadowing, and it's a great way to improve your pronunciation. Choose a short clip, listen to it several times, and then try to repeat what you heard exactly. Pay attention to how the speaker stresses certain words and the overall rhythm of their speech. Listening to English daily, even for just 10 to 15 minutes, will make a huge difference in your understanding and speaking skills. Chapter 3. Building your vocabulary. Having a wide vocabulary is one of the key components of speaking English fluently. In this chapter, we'll explore ways to build your vocabulary efficiently and effectively. Start by learning the most common words. There are thousands of words in English, but not all of them are necessary for beginners. Focus on the most frequently used words in conversations. This will help you understand and use the language in everyday situations. You can learn vocabulary through context. Read books, articles, and watch videos in English. As you encounter new words, try to understand their meaning from the context before looking them up in a dictionary. This will help you remember them better. Another effective technique is to use flashcards. You can create your own flashcards or use apps like Anki or Quizlet. These apps allow you to review vocabulary regularly and use spaced repetition, which helps you retain new words for the long term. Don't be afraid to learn new words every day. Even learning just 5 to 10 new words each day will add up quickly and make a big difference in your vocabulary. Chapter 4. Mastering pronunciation. Pronunciation can be a challenge when learning a new language, but it's not impossible to master. In this chapter, we'll look at ways to improve your pronunciation and sound more like a native speaker. First, it's important to understand that English pronunciation doesn't always follow the rules you might expect from spelling. For example, the word though sounds very different from thought, even though they're spelled similarly. This is why listening and repeating are so important. By listening to native speakers and practicing their pronunciation, you can gradually learn the correct sounds. One way to improve pronunciation is by breaking down words into syllables. If you find a word difficult to pronounce, say it slowly, focusing on each syllable. Practice saying each syllable individually, then say the word faster until you can say it naturally. You can also use online resources, like YouTube tutorials or pronunciation guides, to hear how words are pronounced by native speakers. Many language learning apps also provide feedback on your pronunciation. You can record yourself and compare it to the correct pronunciation. Another great technique is to practice minimal pairs. Minimal pairs are pairs of words that only differ by one sound, like bit and beat, or cap and cup. By practicing these pairs, you'll train your ear to distinguish subtle differences in sound and improve your ability to pronounce words correctly. Finally, remember to practice regularly. The more you practice, the easier it will become to pronounce words correctly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Correct pronunciation comes with time and practice. Chapter 5. The importance of writing. Hello everyone, in this chapter, we will talk about writing. Writing is another key part of learning English. It helps you practice the words and sentences you've learned. When you write, you use the language in a different way, and this strengthens your understanding of it. Writing also helps you remember what you've learned and gives you a chance to be creative. When I was learning English, I started by writing simple sentences. At first, it was difficult because I didn't know many words. I would write about my day, my family, or the things I liked. Slowly, my writing improved. I began to use new words and longer sentences. Writing every day helped me a lot. One way to practice writing is by keeping a journal. A journal is a notebook where you can write about anything you want. Write about what you did today, your plans for tomorrow, or how you feel. Don't worry about making mistakes. The important thing is to practice. Over time, you will get better. Another tip is to write letters or emails. You can write to friends, family, or even to yourself. Writing letters helps you practice how to organize your thoughts. If you don't have anyone to write to, you can write pretend letters. For example, you can write a letter to your favorite movie character or a famous person you admire. Another tip is to write letters or emails. You can write to friends, family, or even to yourself. Writing letters helps you practice how to organize your thoughts. If you don't have anyone to write to, you can write pretend letters. For example, you can write a letter to your favorite movie character or a famous person you admire. When you write, try to use new words and phrases you've learned. This will help you remember them better. For example, if you learn the word excited, you can write a sentence like, I am excited about my trip tomorrow. The more you use new words, the easier they will be to remember. Another good way to practice writing is by creating stories. You don't have to be a great storyteller to do this. Just start with a simple idea, like a day at the beach or an adventure with a dog. Writing stories is fun and helps you learn how to describe things in English. If you're not sure what to write about, try answering questions. For example, you can write about your favorite food, your hobbies, or your dreams. Writing answers to questions is a good way to practice making complete sentences. Reading can also help you improve your writing. When you read, you see how sentences are formed and how words are used. Try to copy the style of writing you see in books or articles. For example, if you read a sentence like, the sky was blue and the birds were singing, you can try to write a similar sentence about something you see. Chapter 6. Speaking with Confidence. In this chapter, we'll talk about speaking English with confidence. Speaking can be one of the most challenging skills to practice, but it's also one of the most rewarding. The more you speak, the easier it will become. Confidence is key when you're speaking a new language, and I want to give you a few tips to help you speak with more confidence. When I first started speaking English, I was afraid of making mistakes. I worried that people wouldn't understand me or that I would sound silly. But over time, I realized that making mistakes is part of the learning process. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep going, even when you feel unsure. One of the best ways to practice speaking is to find someone to talk to. It could be a friend, a family member, or even a language partner online. Don't worry about speaking perfectly. Focus on expressing your thoughts clearly. If you don't know a word, try to explain it using different words. For example, if you want to say, delicious, but you forget the word, you can say, it tastes very good. Another great way to practice speaking is by recording yourself. This might sound strange at first, but it's a great tool to see how you sound. You can listen to your pronunciation, intonation, and how clearly you speak. Over time, you'll notice areas where you can improve. You can also compare your recordings to native speakers' recordings to hear the differences. If you're nervous about speaking with others, try talking to yourself in front of the mirror. It might feel awkward, but it helps you practice speaking without the pressure of someone listening. You can say simple sentences like, I am going to the store, or, the weather is nice today. This helps you get comfortable with the flow of speaking. Another tip is to join language groups or online forums. There are many communities where you can practice speaking English with people from all over the world. These groups are often friendly and supportive, and they provide a great opportunity to practice speaking in a low-pressure environment. Finally, don't forget to practice pronunciation. Sometimes, even when you know the words, it's hard to say them correctly. Use apps or websites that focus on pronunciation. Many of these tools have recordings of native speakers that you can listen to and repeat after. This will help you sound more natural and confident when you speak.
Subscribe to the channel and share this video if you found it valuable. Knowledge becomes more meaningful when it's shared.